Hi guys, it's Katie here from Bella Creativa and I have a new project to share. It's been ages since I've done a new project, but I've got one. So this is a Halloween haunted house mini album, and I'll do a little flip through and then I can show you. But basically it's a set of printable templates that you can also cut on your Cricut. I've got this little guide here, so all the base pages, there's covers, spines, flip pages, waterfalls, little doors, envelopes, file folders, inserts, and then lots of groovy pockets, which you'll see in a minute. So, and then some floral elements as well, because even though it's Halloween, you've got to have some flowers, right? So this is the album. I did, I used some old, I suppose you call it vintage wallpaper, which I painted to make it look sort of a bit more dark and grungy, and then I was really happy with how it looked, so I decided I didn't want to put anything else on top of it, but I just put these little metal corners on and just tied it up with a bit of sari ribbon. But to make this album, the size when it's finished is about 16.5 centimeters wide, which is about 6.5 inches by 23 centimeters long, which is 9 inches, and then the spine is 6.5 centimeters or 2.5 inches. So that's the size that it will make. And so let's have a look inside. So everything that I've used in here pretty much comes from the kit. I tried not to use anything too different so that you could sort of get a feel of what it would look like. Of course, I've included my own little jewelry charms and things like that, so I just put some little dangly charms on the side. I didn't really have anything too Halloweeny, but I had some spiders and some little crosses and a few other bits and pieces. So when you open it up, on the inside cover, so it doesn't come with the tags. You make the tags yourself, but I've used all the ephemera from the kit to make it, and there's lots and lots of little signs and things. So, and then I've just popped that on with a paper clip, and there's a little flip page there, and I'll try and put it all back together as I go. When you flip it out, I've got some little ephemera pieces here. It's a gravestone pocket, and then when you pull the gravestone pocket, pull this out. I made the inserts myself. They are not part. These ones are not part of the kit, but sorry about the barking dogs. Basically, you get 14 background pages that are part of the kit, and instead of printing it full size, I printed it 2 to a page to make these inserts, and 4 to a page to print these inserts, and then it's got some of the ephemera on it. I made these ones into little booklets. Oh, it's got embossing powder in there. Just wait for those dogs to stop barking. I closed the blinds so that they can't see outside, but they still like to have a bark. So these bits of ephemera are all part of the kit as well. And I've just put some embossing powder on there to make them shiny, and I just did some embossing on the I did some normal embossing, and then I did some heat embossing on there just to make it look a little bit different. A bit of stitching around the edge, and then stuck a sign on. So yeah, so that's just the background page printed 2 to a page instead of full size, and then just trimmed around it. Okay, so then that goes in there, and then this flips over. Got some more inserts here and some more ephemera. This is one of the little envelopes. So the envelopes come quite plain, and I've just put, so you can do anything you like on them, and I've just put some of the ephemera on there. And another one of those little inserts here that I've made myself. Then we've got this long witch's pocket, and again this is some of the ephemera, and I've just made it into a little booklet. And then this is the file folder that comes in the kit. So it actually looks like this, but I printed it on both sides, so and I just flipped it over to have a different side. So that goes in there like that, and that's the inside cover. And then on this page we've got a little slot pocket here, and I've put some tags in there that I made using the ephemera. So the slot pocket is part of the kit, and there's another little envelope in there which I won't try and get out because I might not get it back in. And so then you flip over here, there's another one of those gravestone corner pockets, and then another file folder, and another one of those little inserts there that I made. Then we have our witchy pocket, and in there I've also put another couple of inserts, and this is some of the ephemera out of the kit. And again, I did some of the embossing, used some embossing powder on there, did the heat embossing and some of that sort of spooky fabric. That's about it, quite easy. Then the pages are all pocket pages, so each page has got one of these big side inserts where you can put a picture on the front and the back. So there's 6 of those inserts in there. And then on this page I've got another of the long witchy pockets and another couple of inserts with, I did some embossing on there. I tried to make it look a bit grungy. And there's some of the ephemera, I heat embossed that, and the same with this one. Oh, and I put a little bit of foiling around the edges and a bit of stitching. I like it. I think it looks pretty cool. I also put lace down all of the sides of the pages for a bit of fun. Okay, so then this is one of the pockets here. It's the Gates pocket. So, and then I just put this little thing here so that you can open it up like so, which is kind of cute. And I just used a couple of little charms here, a little key and a little lock and a bit of chain to sort of hold it together. Not sure that it really does. And then in that pocket is another one of the folders that I made using the background papers and some ephemera. There's another one of the side inserts. So we've gone through the gates and then we get to the house. So this is one of the floral borders that's in the kit, and some more of the ephemera on here, and another one of the envelopes, and I've just stuck some of the ephemera on there. So I just slide that in here. I used you get lots and lots of these little signs, and I find them really useful for embellishing. So then we've come to the house, and the haunted house, and then that's a pocket as well. So in there I've popped another insert, another couple of inserts. I just went to town and made lots of inserts, and they're pretty much all the same, they just have different ephemera on them. Another side insert there, and you flip that page over, and we're looking in the window of the house now. So on this side is a little flip out with an insert, so there's that little flip again, lots of ephemera, and then more ephemera, and then we have this spooky zombie pocket, and in there I put another one of my little inserts. So this is the so we've got to the house, and now we're having a look through the window, and there's a little kitty on the window and a little spooky ghoul inside, and that he's actually on the insert itself, but you could easily put a photo there if you wanted to. And then we flip over again, and we've got another little flip, and on here I've put another little envelope and another little tag. And then we flip over, and there's just another little bit of ephemera, another one of the little gravestone pockets, and then a couple more little inserts, and I've sort of tucked one in there like that. I'll just stick another little warning sign up there, and I've got lace on those pages, on a little crow on top of the gravestone. And then we get to the doors of the house. So we've had a look through the window, and now we've got to the doors, and they also open up like that. And behind that is a pocket as well, so you can just pop whatever you like behind there. This is the folded insert that comes in the kit, and I just stuck private property sign on there. And this is the background paper, and then one of the ephemera pieces, and one of the little signs. So that's that page. I had so much fun making this. And then on here, I've just paper clipped on a couple of things. So I could have easily made this here into a little tuck spot and tucked it in there, but I just decided to use the paper clip. That's that side insert again, the folded insert again, and then just another little insert I made myself. I'll pop those there. So we've gone through the front doors of the house, and now we get to another set of doors to go into a room. So these come in the little kit. I've just put a keep out sign on there, and then I've just put some little door handles on here, and they open up. And in here you could easily put a photo or something like that, but I've just used some of the ephemera, and I've just put together a little scene with the witch's cauldron, with the crow or the raven there, a bottle of poison. I've got my witch's broomstick, and then a skull here, and they're actually just covering up these little bits here. So that's what's happening on that page. And then another insert on the side, and then we flip over again, and we've got a skeleton belly band, and behind the skeleton belly band I've put another couple of inserts. Again, this one's got a little coffin with a flower on top, and this one's got another little gravestone. So, and I've stitched around those, so they go under there. And then once we're in the room, we come to the apothecary cabinet, and so these are all little bottles of potions. These all come in a little kit. My Cricut cut them out, so that was really easy. And then I've also embossed those to make them shiny and make the colour really pop. And I've put them on little glue dots so that you should be able to move them. They're not removable glue dots, so if you get some removable glue dots, that would be good. But so just a little bit of fun, so I can just put him over here instead. And then I've also made some little doors here, and I put some little door handles. And then when you open it up, I've used little Velcro tabs. There's some more bottles in there. So that's the little apothecary cabinet. Oh, and it's also a pocket. So behind that pocket I've got another little set of inserts. And this is the from the Floral pages, and then I've just done that little gravestone again, a little bit of sparkly shimmery foil on there, and that slides in there. And then the last page is a waterfall page. Now, see how bulky this is? This is because I don't know when to stop. But you don't have to make it this bulky. But anyway, here we've got a waterfall, and I've just put a bit of ephemera on here, and I've used this guy as he's holding the waterfall down. So he just flips down with a little Velcro tab, and then you can put photos or whatever you want on all of those like that. So that holds that one down. And then we come to the back cover. We've got another little gravestone pocket. I've put another little raven on there, and this comes out, and I've got three things in here. So I've got a couple of little inserts I made and decorated with the ephemera, and then we've got the file folder, which I've also put a couple of things on, and that all goes behind the gravestone. So there's a lot, you can fit in a lot of photos. And then this flips out, and here I've used that floral border again and some more lace, and I've just popped in here another little book insert. That's all the ephemera, another of the folded inserts, and another little envelope, and that all fits in here. And then I've used another one of the witch's pockets, and I've put my skeleton insert in here. So this is from the ephemera that comes with the pack as well. So that's my haunted house mini album, and it tells sort of a little story. Well, at least I feel like it does, of, you know, going for a walk, seeing a witch, following the witch back to the haunted house, looking through the windows, going through the door, going through the into the room where the apothecary cabinet is. And so that's pretty much my story. And you meet some skeletons and some zombies and things along the way. So that's my album. As I said, it's a printable kit. If you're interested, I'll give you, well, I pretty much told you everything, but let me just put that to the side and I'll just let you know. So the kit itself, it's either, it comes in two different ways. You can either get it as a set of PDF printable, so you can just print it on your printer and cut it out by hand, or you might be able to use your scan and cut to cut it out, or it comes as a set of PNG files, and you can upload those to your Cricut and do the print then cut function. I printed on this cardstock paper. So I'm in Australia, so this is from Spotlight, and it's 176 GSM paper. And this is actually letter, but you can print it on letter or A4 size paper. You just have to make sure that when you print it or send it to cut, you know, when you use your Cricut, that you choose the paper that the paper size that you're using. So I used letter because this is what it came in. My printer could only take this much without an argument, and the printer I use is an Epson EcoTank. I'm just looking behind me. It's an ET2750, and it printed really well on this 180 GSM cardstock. So if that's what you are looking at doing, that's what I used. And then I also used some black cardstock and some grey cardstock to make my own little inserts to go in there. So you get this little layout guide, which I find really handy, so just print it out and keep it beside me, and then I can decide what things I want to print out, and how many of them I might want, and what the name of the file is to make it really easy to find. So there's the base pages, and there's 12 base pages. Oops, there's 12 base pages. And then there's the cover, the spines, all of the bits and pieces, and all of the clip art sort of things that go with it. I've made them so that they are very easy to cut on your Cricut. And if you're good at fussy cutting, you can cut them by hand as well. And so that's all of the bits and pieces. Now, what was I going to say? I was going to say something and then I've forgotten. That's the second time today. Oh, so I've done a full set of tutorials as well. There's 4 tutorials on how to put this together. The first one is making the cover. The second one is putting in the pages. And the last 2 are putting in the flips and the pockets and that sort of thing. And just, you know, how I went about doing that. So they're just a guide. You don't have to do it that way. But, you know, if you do, you can just follow along. The other thing is, this is a 6-page album, and so it comes with a spine. Comes with a spine for 6 pages, and there's also a spine here for 4 pages. So if you don't want to tackle a 6-page album, you could always do the 4-page one instead. The other thing I wanted to say is, these pieces will most likely fit in a junk journal if you are using, so this is A4 paper. If I was making a signature for my junk journal, I would use A4 paper and fold it in half. And that size, all the pockets will fit on there. So you could just use those in it. You can make a junk journal, make it the way you do, sew in your signatures, and then use all of the pockets and the ephemera and bits and pieces to decorate it. I think it will also work on letter size papers, because letter size is a bit wider but a bit shorter. So I'm pretty sure that all the pockets and things will fit on there as well. I haven't actually tried, but I'm pretty sure that it does. Most of them will anyway. And definitely you can use all of the ephemera and inserts and things like that. So it's all available in my Etsy store. I've put a link in the description box below to my Etsy store. I've also included in this video and in all the tutorials a list in the description box of all the pieces that I cut out and how many of each one I cut out, so that you can just have a quick look in there and see which ones I used if you're following along. Otherwise, do your own thing. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. If you've got lots of photos of your kiddies or grandkids or kids in the street, your nieces and nephews all dressed up for Halloween, then this might be a great way to store all of those photos in a fun sort of storybook mini album form. And of course you can do the cover and do it, you can make it your own. So anyway, thank you very much for sticking with me and going through this flip through from the right to the end. If you're interested, check out the tutorials before you go over to Etsy and purchase it. Make sure it's something that you feel like you can do. It's not hard, it's really not hard. And I step through it all for you, but it's always pays to check out the tutorials before you make your purchase to see if you think you can do it. Otherwise, I also have a Christmas album coming soon, so I hope to see you then. Thanks very much for your time today, guys. Bye for now. Bye.